Welcome to Crawford County, Pennsylvania, where the ship has landed and the journey has come grinding to a halt here in Main Street, USA. Just really quick, look at this place. The town we're standing in was founded in 1788, Meadville, Pennsylvania. And it's chock full of venerable old churches and homes and monuments and buildings. And as my dad put it very succinctly, there are uglier places to be stuck. And stuck I am, my friends, at least for the moment. Our old battle wagon, the van, has come to a grinding halt up here. Because as my grandma would have put it, that thing was shaking like a leaf. But it did get me to Meadville, which was important because about 4 miles away, out in the woods, is where my Uncle Mike lives, the one who's been struggling with cancer. So the bad news is I knew this is as far as the van is gonna go without actually being fixed. But the good news is I spent 3 days and nights up talking to my uncle and getting to spend time with him. And today I was able to borrow his truck to come downtown and have a little walk around while I give you an update. Look here, I'm losing my voice. We've been talking so much. See, when I got into town, it was already Friday. Luckily, Saturday morning, one mechanic was open. I call him Mr. Gnome. He looked just like a garden gnome. Nice guy. He diagnosed the van as needing a new torque converter on the transmission. That's a big job. You got to take the entire transmission out, replace that thing, then put the entire transmission back up in there, put the drive shaft through, all that. But just like I was stuck in Missouri, the big problem isn't even finding the parts, which could be difficult. It's having time to work on it. He said he wouldn't be able to work on it until maybe the end of the month. I even offered him extra money, but he's got jobs in front of me and he's a man of his word. He doesn't want to bump anybody. My cousin's friend, Marianne, nice lady, she works at a shop somewhere around these parts. Same issue there. We could do it if we get the parts, but I don't know if we'll have time to actually get to it this week or next week. And then came Sunday, where of course everything was closed and we just had to sort of sit there all day and wait it out. That got me nervous. I was pacing around back and forth in my uncle's mobile home, driving him nuts. But well before I got up this morning, by 8 o'clock, he was already on the phone calling every person and mechanic he knew in town, found us another shop, and even followed the van up there in his truck. I don't even know how long it's been since he's driven. He's got spinal cancer. Everything is pain, you know. And we dropped off the van, and they think it might be something else. They think it might be a harmonic thing, harmonic whatever it's called. Harmonic balancer? Am I making that up? Which would be much easier and faster to repair. He's hoping he'll be able to do it if I'm very, very lucky, God willing, tomorrow afternoon. Fingers crossed, because the next day after that, my uncle's got to go down to Pittsburgh for treatment, and I will be in Meadville alone. So that's where things are at for the moment. The van is currently in the shop. At least somebody's looking at it. Somebody's thinking about it besides just me pacing back and forth. And that is a very good thing. Speaking of my uncle and Meadville history, look at this old building, the Kepler Hotel. My uncle worked for the property management company that owns this building, and as you can see, built on more modern buildings to the side, but saved the historic core. So he was telling me about this place, this old landmark hotel built in 1890. Not very old for most parts of the world, or even some parts of this country, but where I'm coming from in Anaheim, that's a very old building right there. He took me in the lobby yesterday and we were looking at old-timey pictures of this place. Quite a fixture in Meadville. Pretty neat that people are still living in there today. And look at these front porch rocking chairs. Must have been a nice place to come and get a drink and take a rest when you came out from your farm to downtown Meadville to go to the old market house, which happens to be located just right next door. Look at this old place, built in 1870. There's a farmer's market inside now and a bunch of little stalls and shops. But otherwise, it really hasn't changed much in the last 100+ years. Pretty amazing. I love driving through old towns and checking them out. It's kind of nice to be able to spend a couple of days and be able to wander around and explore one of these old towns a little bit. Meadville, like a lot of cities on the East Coast, was part of the early industrial revolution. It was a mill town. So it was built right on the edge of a stream where the old wooden water wheels could be in the water and get power, you know, for the mills. An old stream that's actually running right under our feet here. And check this out, across the street, if you follow this little squiggly line on the crosswalk and then into the alley, keep following that squiggly line, which is now made of blue bricks, you can actually still see a portion of that old mill stream running underneath the buildings in Meadville. This is pretty darn neat, dude. We don't have anything like that in Orange County, California. You know, unless you're reading like Les Miserables or something. There's an older guy, maybe in his 80s, that lives next door to my uncle. It says he used to explore down in the tunnels and streams and drainage holes. But it's pretty epic, and if you follow the crooked line through Meadville, you can see how it used to run right up behind the buildings that are still on the main streets, and even underneath some of the buildings that still exist. Man, imagine sitting over here in your office, working on your MacBook or whatever, and right underneath you is the old mill stream that used to power this place with water power before, of course, it became steam powered. This sign here at the head of the alley says that in 1810, almost 17,000 yards of material were made by these mills. And I'm sure plenty of that material came right here through the old market house and on to parts unknown. I don't want to count my chickens before they've hatched, so I'm still pretty worried about being stuck here in Meadville for a while. But there are worse towns to break down, and not only is it pretty, but there's grocery stores and Walmarts. Look at this, there's a game store right here, nice little bookstore, even a weird little mall with foot-long hot dogs and a Big Lots inside. Most importantly though, just 2 blocks down Water Street down there is a good mechanic, a nice honest guy who is gonna give it his best shot to get the van in there and try to work on whatever's wrong with it, whether it's what he thinks or the other guy, in time to get me cooking and get me back on the road. I love seeing the old ghost writing on the sides of some of these brick buildings. You can see the old painted advertisements up there. Some of them aren't even ghosts. Some of them you can see plain as day. Look at this. If you look way up on that red brick building there, you can see it says Roush Stoves, Hardware, Plumbing, something, Paints, Oil, Gas, Fittings. Or maybe that doesn't say Roush. Roush. Look back over in this alley. There's one about groceries down low, and then one about some kind of old smoking tobacco. The Old Reliable, it says. I can still read that. Incredible. Yes, sir, the whole darn thing is pretty impressive. Pretty cool. There's a lot of old industrial buildings here too. Buildings that just look like movie sets if you're from Southern California. A lot of old Yankee industry here. Look at this sign. This says the Keystone View Company used to be located here. The world's major stereo slide and lantern slide maker, if you know what that is. Old-timey picture technology. They even made bomb sites here during World War II. One piece of industry that's still big in town, you can see it when you cross the bridge to come into the old part of town, is channel lock. Like the pliers, they were invented here and they're still made here. It's a cute little town with lots of history everywhere, but what makes it even better is all the beautiful surrounding countryside, ponds and woods, and you see Amish people out there in the fields and farms. It's kind of gorgeous up here in western Pennsylvania. Lots of funky old buildings and Pippi Longstocking houses. Kind of place that feels like it's right out of an old Disney movie, Pollyanna, or Something Wicked This Way Comes, or Follow Me Boys, or something like that. Kind of place that wouldn't be bad to live in the summers. I'm not a huge fan of Old Man Winter. Look at this, look at the old canal here. The old stream canal. This is where it runs down into downtown. Look at the way they channeled it to give it a little extra momentum. I'm sure the water is running a lot lower than it used to back in the day when it was powering mills. Dude, through most of the town, you can't even see where that stream is going. It's all underwater in most places and sneaky. Look at it behind these houses here. Dude, how cool would that be to sit on your porch at night and listen to? Anyway, with the van between Hannibal and now here in Meadville, I've already lost a good solid, well, I'm going to lose a good solid week of travel time. That definitely cut into my plans a bit. But like I said, the silver linings that I've already gotten to spend a heck of a lot of time with my uncle. Much needed time, really. Kind of get to be my mom's eyes and ears and spy on him, make sure he's got everything he needs and all that stuff before he leaves for treatment. And see, I know my uncle is a lot like me, where he needs to be working and moving around or he'll go crazy. So on top of everything else, it's certainly been tough on him to be sort of unoccupied all the time. And that's why a visit from me to talk his ear off for 4 or 5 days is probably a good thing. Dude, look at this old converted high school here. Pretty sure that's another property my uncle was the caretaker of. It's neat when buildings get repurposed instead of torn down the way they would in Southern California. Dude, look at this one. This thing looks like it came straight out of a movie, maybe Lady and the Tramp or something like that. Dude, that's gorgeous. Anyway, I've been walking around town for a couple of hours now. I think I've shaken some of it out of my system. I'm gonna head back to where my uncle lives. Now there's a nice pond across the road, and maybe walk around in the countryside out there for a little bit. Well, at least once I pick up some more Groceries, that is. I'm used to rolling into towns on my travels and heading to Walmart or the grocery store and grabbing some kind of gluten-free food I can eat just for one night. So the fact that this is my 4th trip down there tells me, oh man, yeah, I've been here for a while and I might be here for another couple of days, but let's talk about that in a minute. Oh, that's good, dude. Look at this. I can see the van is actually up there. They're actually looking at it already. Yes. I choose to take that as a highly encouraging sign, since this morning they said they probably wouldn't be able to even look at it until tomorrow. Hang on a minute, I forgot I was coming to the grocery store and I just remembered there's something pretty weird in this town. Right across the very busy and very noisy highway is the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation office. And just look at all of that artwork. Some very unusual artwork as it happens. So take a look if I can ever figure out how to cross the highway. Oh yeah, dude, check this out. Look at the size of these flowers here, and they're all constructed out of old decommissioned Pennsylvania highway signs. Dude, how's that for recycling? And speaking of recycling, all of this mulch on the bottom is all old tires. It's funny, you don't realize how big these signs are when they're up on their posts along the side of the road, but they are all gigantic. This is some pretty unusual folk art out here. I don't know who the first person in the office to suggest this was, but the effect is pretty darn fantastic, and this isn't even the main show. The main show is down along the main highway. Oh yeah, dude. Look at this. Look at that freaking artwork. Look at how many pieces of signs it took to make these like mosaic-like pieces of scenery. Oil pumps and steam engines, railroad tracks, green hills and fields and ponds and cattails, and look at that barn. Uh-oh. Oh no, watch out for the storm. Would you look at the storm up there? Whoa, it's stormy skies for us with the van, but look at that. Don't worry, friends. The rainbow is going to come out. Look at each individual water drop here. You got some reflective white piece, then some blue. Look at this little droplet here. This is amazing. Look at the tree, all built out of speed limit signs. And then behold, something gloriously Pennsylvanian. I believe we're looking at Independence Hall. Crazy, there's one in Philadelphia way across the state, and one at home in Buena Park by Knott's Berry Farm. Oh, home. Wait a minute, that's not Independence Hall. That's the courthouse we literally looked at earlier. I'm dumb. Oh, this is cool. The artwork is getting more and more 3D as you go along. Look at this deer here. I've seen plenty of them out this way. Let me tell you, a raccoon. Hey, we even have what looks like a little fisherman over here. Must be my Uncle Mike. There's a goose and a turtle and some mushrooms, all things I've actually seen out in the country here. And then look at these fish. Does this still turn? Hey, the bass are jumping. Boy, this buck better watch out during hunting season. My uncle was telling me some of the stores, lawyers' offices, everything will close down around here during hunting season. It's a big deal out in these parts. Wow, trucks and roads made out of road signs. We got another pond over here, a couple of people in a boat. Look at him, he's about to whack that frog with his paddle. No frog whacking, guys. I wonder which one of these is the ugly one. Probably that one. Wow, dude. What in the world? This is pretty sick. Little trees and whole buildings here. Look at all the signs that they're made out of. I know there's a lot of dudes right now going, oh man, I would have put that in my garage. Lamps and window shutters. I told you it was more than just the flowers. Those aren't even the main show. I love how three-dimensional the buildings are. Look at the high water signs up there. Hey, there's a Crawford County one. Look at the shade awning built out of interstate signs. This is amazing, dude. A lot of scrap metal right here. Personally, I think this is a better use of the old signs than scrapping them or hanging in your garage. No offense. Look at these cloudy, windy skies, and look at the hot air balloons. Holy cow. And this thing keeps going and going and going. Everyone in Meadville's driving by looking at us like we're nuts, but don't you appreciate stuff like this? I know I do. This is the endless mile of fence. Look at the sailboats, my friends, and other things. What the heck is that? Is that an umbrella? It's an umbrella! Oh, that's pretty tight. Look at that. Tight? Who says tight? Who says that's pretty tight? Anyway, it is pretty tight. Look at that roller coaster. Look at this highway sign. Made out of old highway signs. There's a lot here. Pretty cool seeing this old singing cowboy. And the girl with the ice cream cone. next to him. This guy's really excited about the music, and this cow sure looks surprised. Move on down the highway, you're standing on the side of the road. I know. Julio? I don't know who's responsible for creating this artwork, man. They are good at what they do. I assume that this big thing, this big windmill also spins, but I don't want to try it very much. Look at those things hanging up there. Oh yeah, she'll spin all right in heavy wind. I don't want to do it more than I did. It was a little rickety. Man, this is crazy. This is the kind of thing that normally I would see on the side of the highway and go, I don't know if it's worth pulling over, but I got nothing but time today. So it's nice to check it out up close and personal. Look at these trees. The giving trees. Trees that give advice. Just don't ask them for directions. These are country directions right here. Turn left at the old mule, and then at the bottom of the hill there, you'll see 2 fence posts. One's blue, one's red. You'll keep going straight, and then you'll come to an old barn. What you want to do is keep on going right straight past it. Then further along, you'll take a left, and then after the left, you'll see a blue tractor or a green one. That's old Schmitty's tractor, you know. Sometimes he drives blue, sometimes he drives green. Then you're gonna want to keep going straight for a while, a little spell, past the pumpkins, and then eventually, if you wait till nigh on 3:30, you'll see a school bus coming down, and that's how you know you're halfway to your destination. Uh-oh. We're not running out of fence or highway, but we are running out of grass on which to trod. Look at this. Look at this big old turkey. Something about this turkey, man, cracks me up. Look at this turkey over here. Get out of the road, you turkey. Ooh, these people are making a little brush fire here. Burning trash in their yard. But yeah, look at this. We've run out of space to check it out. I think we're entering the wetlands over here because thus begins the ditch. These are on either side of the highway, dude, all over the east, man. Kentucky's really rotten with them. These are what makes it so hard to pull over in a lot of these states. There'll be these huge ditches and just nowhere to stop to take pictures. Sometimes the line for the road is like right up against the ditch. Kind of a bummer, but dude, this was awesome, man. Look at that. That's a way to take something really boring, like a Pennsylvania Department of Highway and Transportation, whatever it is, yard, the kind of place that's just used as a storage yard for gravel and salt and stuff like that, and old road equipment, and then turn it into something a little more scenic, something worth stopping at big time. It's just too bad there's no sidewalk over here. Well, bravo to whoever did this. I wanted to show it to you guys. I'm glad I remembered at the last second. Time for me to head to Giant Eagle now, though, and get me some vittles. By the way, this reminds me a lot of my friend Tyler Evans' old horse wife. You ever heard of her? Gotta go back a long way to find those episodes. Well, my horse wife is a friend of mine. She makes me feel so grand and fine. A horse wife is a splendid thing when she comes hopping along going ring-a-ding-a-ding. Oh, shut up. Shut the front door, dude. Jeff down there just called me. He said the van's already done. They did it today. They got the part in 2 seconds, and they already fixed it. He said the terrible vibration, dude, I'm really losing my voice. Vibration is gone. Dude, the death rattle, the terror shake. I'm sad that Mr. Garden Gnome was wrong. He was a cool guy, but man, I owe this guy Jeff a life debt. This is radical. Of course, my uncle's not with me, so I'm just gonna go down there really quick, pay for it, and then leave it outside down there and come back for it later. But dude, I'm so stoked. Gimme, 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 open, open, open. You remember those commercials? Open, open, open. Ah! I'm stuttering with excitement. Dude, I cannot believe I got the van back. Got it all the way here. It's never run that smooth where the steering column wasn't shaking or anything. It's the smoothest it's driven ever. It's crazy. It worked out perfectly for me to spend just enough time here to pick up my uncle's buddy from the airport that's gonna drive him to treatment, and then we'll be back on the road. Now, they didn't clear the engine code. Still a check engine light. I don't know if they just didn't clear it or there's still something else wrong with the transmission or whatever, but at least this stage of the journey, the death rattle stage, is over. So I can't help it if, you know, something else breaks on it or whatever, but whew, at least whatever that last problem was, harmonic balancer or whatever, is solved. Because, dude, it was shaking so hard. I thought all the inside stuff, like the cabinets and everything in the van, were gonna shake apart. Listen to these geese. They are not happy that I'm over here on their lawn like 8,000 miles away. Calm down. Look at this, isn't this amazing? Look at this pond over here, all these giant lily pads. There are like geese and goslings. I saw a fox out here. They see bear out here all the time. Frogs are croaking and singing, and fish are jumping in and out of this pond all night. Then over there in those woods back there, they were cutting down trees. So my uncle's neighbor saw a bear. Look at these birds. What is it? Nuclear-shouldered bird. Other than around the rivers of America or the Jungle Cruise, it's pretty different than the scenery back home in Anaheim, California, let me tell you. I wouldn't mind looking at this from my front porch, that's for sure. I'm just taking a big sigh of relief, man, a big breath after the van thing. I did not expect them to be done today. I guess these wicked storm clouds had a silver lining after all. Anyways, I'm gonna head back inside now, hang out with Uncle Mike, because whether or not I was gonna be stuck here, my time with him here was growing pretty short. But I just wanted to come out and show you guys this pond. There's a big old freaking buzzard down there. I've seen bald eagles on this trip. I've never seen them before. Deer everywhere at night. It's been a pretty wild, surreal adventure. It'll feel more normal when we're back on the road. I don't know at what point I have to start heading west again. Hopefully, if the van's okay, we'll get to head a little bit farther east, at least in this state. And there's still absolutely no guarantees that that van is gonna make it all the way back to Southern California. So we won't hold our breath, but we will cross our fingers and hope for the best. Guys, please don't forget about store.randomland.com. All the shirts are being restocked. So there's sick merch there. There's Instagram, there's Patreon with all kinds of extra stuff. But for now, we've all done our duty. It's time to go home and sleep well. Huh? Yeah. Really, yeah. Better than the Missouri weather.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Hey, are you okay? Do you mind if we call you back after this goes? It's just hard to hear on the metal roof. Whoa! What happened?
Yeah. Well, my horse wife is a friend of mine. She makes me feel so grand and fine. A horse wife is a splendid thing when she comes hopping along going ring-a-ding-a-ding. Oh, that's pretty tight. Look at that. Tight? Who says tight? Who says that's pretty tight? Anyway, it is pretty tight. Look at that roller coaster.